Welcome to Afrikaans, the very easy, simple and interesting way. I am Ms Coetzee and today I'm going to show you how to do Meervoude. That is how to turn a word from singular to plural. Please subscribe to our channel and let's do it. Today we're going to look at Meervoude in Afrikaans, and that is plurals, how to turn a word from singular to plural. Now the first thing you need to remember that in Afrikaans we've got three basic endings. So the word we give you, you're going to add a S, a E or a TE. Now in most cases we add a E in about 80% of the cases. So that is your three options. I have put some examples down for you. Please look at that carefully. So whenever you are stuck and we want you to do a plural, a meervoud, then you just choose one of these three endings and the one that sounds best you will take. And trust me, your Afrikaans is strong enough to know which one. Let's look at the rules. I am going to give you 6 rules, and then later on with a follow-up tutorial I'm going to show you the exceptions. But today we're focusing on the 6 rules. If you know these 6 rules, you can change any word in a dictionary, magazine or a newspaper to plural. So let's have a look at rule 1. Rule 1 I call the long vowel rule. That is when your second last letter, look at the word man, when your second last letter is a long vowel. That means 2 A's, 2 E's, 2 O's and 2 U's. What do you do then? It's easy. You just take one vowel away and you add an E. You drop one vowel and you add an E. So you will see the rule is in the second column, then what you need to do and an example. So with all of these, you can see the long A, the E, the O, the U. You take one away and you add an E. Then rule 2, I call it the short vowel rule. If you look at the word rak, you always look at your second last letter. In number 1, the second last letter was a long vowel. Now it is a short vowel. So when your second last letter is a single A, E, I, O or U. What I mean by single is next to that vowel, look at rak, mes, vis, stop, bus. There's no other vowel. It's a single vowel. What do we do then? You double the last letter, not the vowel, the last letter, and you add an E. Can you see that? It's very clear. You double the K in rak and the E, the mes. There you double the S and the E, and you carry on like this. So with all of them, I've tried to give you an example of each of these vowels. You just double the last letter and you add a E. Okay, now we're going to look at rule number 3. Now you find this rule very difficult, but it's actually very simple. Just listen very carefully. When a word ends on an AAG or an AE, like in saag, look there, and dag, you change that, you replace that with the AE. So how do you learn this? You say AAG or AG goes to AE. No dots. Those dots are called deeltekens. So when an A and an E, when they are together, you never use deeltekens or dots. So I've given you the examples here. You can see for yourself there. Then when I give you a OOG, when a word ends on OOG, look at boog. So you take away the OOG and you must learn OOG goes to OE dots. Don't get mixed up with these two. You see in OOG, I never gave you a E. So you're going to give me the E, the one with the dots. You can't work this out yourself. You just really need to learn it. OOG goes to OE dots. OEG, I gave you an E, so this one will have 2 E's. The one I gave you and the one you gave me. So remember to learn OEG goes to OEE dots. And there you have it. So remember, you take the AAG, AG, OOG and OEG away and you replace it with these endings. Learn this very well. Okay, we now get to rule number 4. That is when a word ends on a F. It's very simple. When a word ends on a F, you give it a W, you change it to W and a E. Now be careful, look at these examples. Whenever we've got two different vowels together, you do not work with your rules, not rule 1, not rule 2. You just change the F to a W and a E. So remember, whenever you work with two different vowels, you just do your ending. Look at craft. Be very careful now. That's a spade. There's two rules that you need to apply here. It's rule 1, the long vowel rule. So you take one away. The F goes to a W. It's rule 4, and that's your answer. You need to understand how you got to your answer. So look at SIF. This is rule 2, the short vowel rule, and rule 4, the F rule. So the short I means that the F, you should double the F. But now this rule says the F goes to a W. So you W. Does that make sense? Yes, it does. So please learn this very carefully. Number 5, when a word ends on hate, that hate part goes to hede. Ding, skryf ding, speel ding, ry ding. You replace the ding with goed. It's speel goed, skryf goed, ry goed. And the word tuig, you don't get them very often, like a vliegtuig or a werktuig, and that goes to tuie. But hate and ding, very important. Now we're getting to our last rule, and that is rule 6. Listen very carefully now. When a word ends on a single I-O-U, think of it as I am owing you something. So I, O, or you. Then you give it an apostrophe S. Now I know that in English you use the apostrophe to indicate possession. You will say this is Mary's book. But we say that is Marie se, S-E, book. So you see, we use the apostrophe S to indicate plural. So when a word ends on a single, there's no other vowel next to alibi, or foto, or skadi. It stands alone. You give it apostrophe S. So the A rule. Now listen carefully to this one. There is a very fancy rule for this one. That is when it ends, the syllable, the A syllable is the loud syllable, like hoorah. You don't say hoorah, okay? So what happens here, but I'll give you a shortcut. When you have ma, pa, or hoorah, any version of ma en pa, skoonpa, stiefpa, peetpa, skoonma, stiefma, peetma, it gets apostrophe S. Any version of ma and pa and hoorah, but remember opa and oma being versions of ma and pa, they're too old for the apostrophe, so I always say you don't give them apostrophe, okay? Then I want you to have a look at video and radio. That is very important that you learn those two media words. They get an apostrophe as well. And last thing, all your other A words. If it's not pa, ma, or hoorah, it gets a normal S. Like baba, it's B-A-B-A-S. Like pada, a normal S, no apostrophe. Like massa, like tema, there's lots of them. If it's not a pa, ma, or hoorah word, you just give it a normal S. I hope you have enjoyed my tutorial, and please remember to subscribe, and remember, shift your learning.